Hi everyone, I'm Sandy, and today I'm back with the 1001 Book Countdown, and I have another Pulitzer for you. And you know what? It's not bad. Let's get to it. All right, as always, if you're not familiar with the 1001 Book Countdown, I'll put a card up here for you so you can go and check out the original video where I talk about all of the details, but it's basically book reviews and conversations off of the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die list, which I have moved up here, as you can see. Yeah, I finally got my bookshelf put back together, if you can see that over there, after my physical TBR video. Yay! I forgot what I was saying. I'm so close to my 2021 goal. I'm just ecstatic because last year I actually only read 30 books off of this list, and this year I only have 11 left to hit the 52 goal that I had set for myself. So very close to my 2021 goal, which is amazing. But for today, we will go ahead and put up the number, which is 964, and 11, which is the 2021 number. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into the book. It has also gotten very, very cold here. Why I am now wearing a zip-up hoodie and look like I am ready to go outside. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the book. So for today, the book that I have to talk about is American Pastoral by Philip Roth. So this book was published in 1997, and it won the Pulitzer Prize in 1998. It falls somewhere around the middle of Roth's work, from what I can tell, and it is one of the novels that is called features the character Zuckerman. In this book, Zuckerman is a writer and has a very small role actually in this book. It starts off really with Zuckerman kind of reminiscing about his history and about a character that he knew, or a person that he knew growing up, who was only called the Swede. His real name was Seymour, and so he gets in contact with Seymour gets in contact with Zuckerman, or the Swede gets in contact with Zuckerman in order for him to write about what he proposes is his father. And so you start off with Zuckerman and the reminiscing and his remembrances of the Swede and of growing up, and then it transitions into something completely different. At the beginning, Zuckerman describes the Swede as the most bland individual possible. He's also described as being exceptionally handsome. He married Miss New Jersey in this, and is revered when he was growing up as being an all-American kind of athlete. Could have went to play I believe it was pro baseball, and ended up going and working for his father's glove company. But you get a very interesting picture of this all-American kind of guy, really just doing his best to fulfill his dad's legacy, his father's legacy at the glove company that he inherits. And he is married to Miss New Jersey, and they have one child whose name is Mary, Merry. And the book really goes through with Zuckerman starting and saying, he thought he was the most bland individual possible, and then realized just how far wrong he was. And the book really goes through and documents it from the Swede's perspective, just documents from the Swede's perspective just how devastating some things that had been happening in his life really were to him, and to the people around him. And so he put on this very brave face to the outside world, but internally his whole world was basically falling apart. And it all stems around the father-daughter, mother-daughter relationship with a very, very difficult child who is accused of doing something absolutely horrific. And for the longest time in the book, you don't know if the child had actually done that, or if she was falsely accused of that. All of that part of the story does get resolved as you kind of go along, but it is basically the story of the Swede dealing with this horrific thing that his daughter was accused of. And as a parent, that was something that was very, very hard to read. There's one line in this book where he's actually talking about his wife, but as a parent, it hit me very hard in relation to kind of watching your children go through these things. It just says, from the very beginning, it has been a far greater strain for him to hear her disappointments than to bear his own. And that is something that watching my own child like not get the job he wants or not always be as successful in something as he wanted, it is so hard to sit back and watch that. I think it doesn't even have to be a parent-child relationship. It can be any relationship where you really care about someone and your hands are tied and you're not able to help them through something. I felt that line over and over really in this, and how he just felt the disappointment of what happened with his daughter and was constantly reflecting and constantly looking to see if there was something he should have done differently. One small event when she was young, did that trigger what happened? Was it the mother that triggered something? There are some sections in this that are graphic in nature. There's a character whose name is Rita Cohen, who's particularly vile in places and very subversive, I guess, in how she deals with the Swede in the beginning, taking a tour of the factory that he works in or that he owns. And all the time the Swede is trying to figure out where his daughter is actually at. I don't want to give away the whole book, but it is one that when I was reading through it, like I said, that part of it, very moving from that perspective. It is very one of those books that the story of it and how the father was really relating to things was heartbreaking at times, because you just felt how powerless the father actually was throughout this book. And so I was pleasantly surprised. I was completely scared off by Philip Roth. And there's another novel that won the Pulitzer Prize that he wrote, which is Sabbath's Theater, which I understand is not nearly as readable or as easy to consume as this particular book was, taken from the perspective or some people that I trust their opinions about books, that one is a tough read. So this one, I was pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. It doesn't quite get up to the Confederacy of Dunces level of Pulitzer winner, but it was it wasn't pleasant to read, but it was very engaging, and it was one that I feel like I got a lot from this, and just that devastation of watching or reading this father go through all of this and all of his powerlessness in someone that is so strong and so physically beautiful, and just how it really documented how much of a failure he felt like, which I was moved by. So, but that is American Pastoral by Philip Roth. It is one that I think is worth a read. If you're curious if you've read this one, what you think of it. I am happy I read this year. If you're wondering why I have so many Pulitzers on my 2021 list, it's because I really wanted to tackle more than one list at a time, because of course I also have a list of Pulitzers, and of course not just the winner Pulitzers, but the finalists for the Pulitzer. So I've been knocking those off, I did a cross, knocked them both off of the list. So, but that is American Pastoral by Philip Roth. And with that, we get to go from 964 to 963, and it is on my 2021 list. So we go from 11 to 10. We are almost in single digits. I can't wait. For the rest of this month, I have a few books that I've started from the 1001 book list, which are Hawksmoor by Peter Ackroyd. I'm reading this with Alice in the Giant Bookshelf and Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. And we are right about at the halfway mark. And this one is dark and creepy and weird. And, I'm here for it. It's an interesting one for sure so far. I'm very glad I'm doing this as a buddy read, because there's parts of it I have not understood, and Greg and Alice have really helped with that. The other one that should be coming up probably more towards the end of the month is The Tin Flute by Gabrielle Roy. I had to take the the cover off of it because it was just very old, and you can see it sitting over here on the stand. I didn't want to ruin it, but I am also almost halfway through of this book, and I'm really enjoying this one quite a bit. This one was a recommendation by Elizabeth at Bookins and Books. What is my mouth doing today? And I'm doing this as a group read with Shelley Swearingen and Stephanie Cohen, and I believe Sonia Delaney is in this one as well. So yeah, this one has been very, very enjoyable so far. And then the last one, and this one's tough, is Bleak House by Charles Dickens. This is my Victober pick, and as you can see from the bookmark, I am right here. I am not even halfway through this book, at the halfway mark in October. This one is probably going to take me a good 6 weeks to finish. It is not one of those books that you can just sit down and plow your way through. I can only read about 30 or 40 pages a day of this book, and that's the max. There have been days I haven't picked it up at all. It's just a struggle at times, and a lot of that is because of the story. When it's told from one perspective, I love. When it's told from another perspective, I don't love it as much. But those are the 3 we have coming up, and of course none of those are on the 2021 list, so we'll see what happens with that. Really want to get in the single digits, but with that, as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, everyone, thanks, bye.